The first site that I have here is the Crime Watch portal. And for those of you that don't know, it's a very simple email address. HBG, which stands for Harrisburg, PD for the police department, .org. When you type that in, that will take you to this site. This site is kind of all inclusive. We have a couple things that are going in here. Number one, you can find out about the latest releases that we put in. Most of the information you see here will be transferred to the media, sometimes word for word, even when I misspell a word. I get told that often. But you get that from there. You can also submit a tip from this location, whatever that tip would be. If you saw a video, if you saw a photograph, you can actually submit this tip in here, and currently these tips go to the command staff. We then send those tips out to specific officers, specific units, perhaps all officers or supervisors, so that way they can actually do something with that information. And the reason why I started with this one is if you needed to get to our crime mapping, you just come right here. Brings you to Raids Online. So the link's already built in there. And what's nice about the link that's there, it takes you straight to Harrisburg. It doesn't take you to the national map. There's always the disclaimer here that you have to agree to, and it's not taking me to Harrisburg. All right. All you have to do is go to Pennsylvania, click on the state.
We know what Harrisburg is. We can.
And Harrisburg's already on the list. You just click Harrisburg and it takes you there. There's a couple things with this. It automatically defaults to 1 month. You could change that however you'd like. You go to the date range, which is right here, and you change your date. There is a mobile app. And what you can do with that mobile app is you can actually take a photograph. And you can actually load that photograph and submit that with your tip. So if you see something, you can capture it and send it with that tip. As Captain Moody had indicated, you can choose to stay anonymous, or you can put down, yes, I wish to be contacted, and you just take that. Let me go back to the map. So as I said, the default setting is 1 month. You actually can pick your address and pick a distance from there so you can see all the crimes in there. You can actually request some type of alert that be put up so that way you know when crimes are happening regarding anywhere around your home. This is uploaded at 6 o'clock in the morning, so for those of you that don't want to be woken up by that, I would recommend not putting it on unless you're up at that time, as most of us are. The date range you can change. You can choose how much, so let us go, it's the 28th, let's start from last Friday. Now, if you wanted to see what kind of crimes there are, you would have to go to the events piece. It comes pre-selected. For me, too much stuff is very cluttered. So I like to start with a clean slate. And you can actually start going down these. As the mayor had indicated, our November through February is when we started transitioning from our old record management system to the new one. We had to learn everything on the fly. So in the reporting system, we have the reports there, but there were some technical errors which don't translate very well to the map. The reports are there, and unfortunately, because we've made arrests on those things, we cannot change them. So we have to leave them as is. So between that time, some of the reports won't come on here because of that. We've made arrests, so we can't go back and change something. It's unfair to anyone that's been arrested because we're changing documents after the fact. So that's the little clause there. This indicates that it's actually working. So you see nothing since Friday to now. But you can actually go through these. The attempted homicides are not in here simply because of the way this system is designed for nationwide. It's not designed for Harrisburg City. So some of these do not fall into our record management system very simply. So attempted homicides, death investigations don't fall in with our CAD calls. Sexual assaults. All right, let me expand this a little bit more. Okay. Sexual assaults, you would click on it. It would give you the incident number, the type of case, what day, what time it came in, and it came up on the first block of South 15th. Normally you would have a 15, a 12, a 13, but since it doesn't have a 3-digit, it's on the first block of South 15th Street. If you have, for any reason, any specific knowledge regarding that crime, you can submit a tip right from here, and that would come to us as well. Sexual offenses. Yeah.
You want to explain to them about the location?
Okay. The locations. For this one, it's a sex offense. You can see the information I already explained. The public address. We do not give out the full address because we don't want to put out a victim's address. We don't necessarily want to put a suspect's arrest. If the individual's been arrested and charged and found guilty, that's another fact. But until they've been convicted, they're still presumed innocent. So we don't want to give that information out. So that's why you see the X's on the address. We will not give the full actual address, but you will know what block it's on, if there's any questions regarding that. There are some things that are different. Robbery for commercial. Because our system is not designed like this, for us a robbery is a robbery, and then when we start getting into more of the investigation, that's where we make the delineation if it's a business or an individual. Because of that, we had to put everything under individual. So you have the robberies that occurred within that time frame. And there was one on the 1100 block of Susquehanna on the 17th. I believe that was reported on yesterday. Yesterday seems like it was a long time ago. The same thing with the assaults. When an officer gets the call, originally it's for an assault. It's not delineated between aggravated assaults or anything like that. So if you go to aggravated assaults, you will not see anything on there. Before I hit the assaults, I would like to make another disclaimer. We put all assaults to include domestic assaults. So when you first put this on, it's very intimidating. It shows a lot, but there's a lot of different things that are in there. So I will pick just a couple. Domestic. Domestic. And these are random. That's an actual assault. That was the criminal attempt homicide. You can see right here when you start looking more into it. But as I said, this includes simple assaults, aggravated assaults, domestic assaults are all on this. So that's why you will always see more on here. Same thing for burglary. Because it's not delineated, we have to put everything under residential. The others are pretty self-explanatory. Uncheck that. Our drug and narcotics violations. Because we do a lot of investigations, we don't post on here our drug arrests or the investigations. Because by putting that on there, we're actually tipping off the individuals that we may be investigating. So we do not put that on here. What you are looking at, unfortunately, are overdoses. And this is only for the month of June. Weapons violations. Once again, we have quite a few investigations that are dealing with firearms, so we can't necessarily put in here what those investigations are because that would tip off those individuals. This is open to everyone, so we don't want them getting that information. What this is all the shots fired within the city. Now these are calls that we respond to. As you see here, this was administratively closed. That means the officers went out there They found no witnesses. They found nothing damaged. So there was nothing to substantiate this. And unfortunately, people know that if they want officers to come quickly, sometimes they will do this. Also, they will use this to draw away officers. So you have to look at this and understand what's actually there. This was a weapon offense. It was a shots fired, and it eventually turned into someone being charged with a person not to possess a firearm. So you can see the progression of these things. So this actually had an arrest. Because there's an arrest, we can actually post it up there. Then we have our non-criminals and criminals. Our non-criminals will be, let's see, missing persons, both adult and juveniles. I think that's what we have on there. And then the all other criminal, which is harassments, trespassing, all those minor offenses. Any questions regarding this so far before I continue on? So if you don't have a mouse and you scroll out, you will also see, let's see, assault. Okay. You will also see the information for Steelton and Sweater. So just so you're aware of that. Okay. As I indicated, you can hit to submit a tip through this, and that will come to us as well. We are using this. You can change the date to a weekend, a week, a month, and we are starting to utilize this. So that's that piece. Going back to Crime Watch. The mayor had indicated that, or the media had indicated that we're going to be releasing something regarding the camera registry, which the mayor just did speak about. And we've been working very diligently regarding this. And if you actually come to the screen, you will have a camera registry tab there. So you actually hit that. That will take you into another page. And you can actually go in here and you can list the information, the address of where it's at, the contact information, email address. This one is very important. Does someone know how to use the system? It's very surprising how many people don't know how to use the system. If you don't know how to use the system, at least keep the instructions with you. We can figure it out, but if there's no instructions, you don't know, it makes it very difficult. It asks for the types of cameras that you have, number of cameras, estimated time that you retain the video, and then the comments. And what we ask for you in the comments is, do you have an interior or an exterior camera? So that way we can register, and we may contact you if we have additional questions regarding your camera, if the information is not fully understandable here. So that is the way that individuals or businesses can register their camera. And we can utilize that information, so that way when we do have a crime in a neighborhood, we can actually utilize this information and go to those individuals and utilize those cameras to help us solve crimes. And we have a lot of cameras that are owned privately in the city, and everyone's more than willing for us to use their systems when there's a crime for us to investigate.